Welcome people to Libluini Super Show. Another global goal went up. This time something more green, I guess. This could be bad. And we cast Sea King's Core to get some reinforcements, because Sea Kings are trolls with magic powers who can go underwater. I did this to reinforce my giant stack of pale ones. And I didn't recruit enough, and we got nearly 1,000 more this turn, but it's good. And there's already a spoiler about what happened to that fortress we wanted to storm last turn. It seems that went well. Now there is just 5 or 6 more there. Oh wow, that was not much. It seems Bogaros are already killed everything worthwhile up in the north. So we have our giant stack of units, and even if I hadn't done anything, I mean, look at this. Just a couple undead crossbowmen and some other random junk. Those guys are dead. They would have been dead even with a tenth of those units. And now they are even in effect. Oh yes, and my flying units now murder them. That was a short battle. The elephants get stuck, but luckily we have dudes with wings who can just fly over them. Perfect. And that was it. Short battle, really. And my pretender foresaw some kind of great disaster, but because he is a giant raven, he has the magical power to stop events like this. Mostly really bad events. That's another gimmick you can get to know when you're playing this game. Sometimes really bad random events will happen, but they will give you signs a couple turns before they actually happen. And if you have certain luck-based powers on your commanders, then it can happen that they see the signs, and instead of you getting the normal message that some kind of doom is awaiting you in the future, you will get the message you've seen with the commander who found out what will happen, effectively neutralizing the future event. It's kind of neat because there's a lot of stupid magical shit which can happen to you, like invasions by undead super NPCs, or hordes of undead, or the good old classicers of a horde of knights out of nowhere, or a barbarian horde out of nowhere. And it's always neat if some stupid random event like this is eliminated. Of course, there's also lots of scripting to do with all the units I keep recruiting every turn, and of course placement. In a normal game this would actually matter. In this game we have so many units, all sense of tactic and strategy is slowly eroded by the giant masses of units we are throwing at each other. But still, at this point in time, all rhyme and reason haven't been defeated yet. We can still try to be smart about this. So I do my best and script my armies to maximum effect, or at least to what I think will be some kind of good effect. Besides, there's a type of units in game called undisciplined. They always do what they want, and what they want to do is basically random AI shit. And after you saw those guys in action a couple of times, then you're a bit more inclined to script your armies reasonably, because the artificial intelligence in this game will always find some kind of new way to fuck your own side over. Really, it's a good day if your mages won't just go off script to cast some random shit, or units will be lured into the wrong path and then exterminated just by being stupid or by being shot by their own side or whatever. And that's just the things I can think of at the top of my head. Sometimes I'm really surprised at how stupid units can be on their own. Really, you should always try to think 5 steps ahead and always assume that the computer, if you leave decisions to him, will be incredibly stupid. Anyway, we still have tons of gems, mostly collecting because I'm still working through my research goals before I can use them up, and besides I'm concentrating in this game mostly on death, so obviously I'm not using the other games as much. Of course, I'm also learning a little bit about how to play late age Calum in this game, because obviously the longer you are playing a game, the longer you survive, the more weird shit you encounter, both by enemies and both by trying to find a counter for said weird shit. So I'm learning always new stuff, but you will see that in future episodes. Right now I'm slowly learning simply by thinking about how to apply my gems. This means, in other words, I'm starting to try to find ways to use all my non-death gems. Now let's move this army south to take the Strong province and the fort down there. So anyway, one kind of thing you can always do with your gems is of course trading. The longer a game goes, however, the more grows the chance that you will have trouble finding trading partners, because everyone you want to trade with will either be your enemy and you don't want to help them, of course, or, which will happen soon in this game, you get to the point where you need every gem for yourself and your plans, and trading away gems won't help you. Besides, the problem is all my neighbors, with the exception of Pangaea, need gems like Fire and Death for themselves, and Pangaea would like to get, I guess, my nature gems. I think there was one point in the past where I traded nature to Pangaea, but the problem with Pangaea is, of course, they are on the death nation, so they don't have lots of death income, and if we get to late game, then of course Pangaea's player will probably find a way to use those death gems and won't like to trade them away to an enemy who really needs a lot of death gems because he is death incarnate. Anyway, trades can be useful, but you have to do it early enough or you will get into problems. In late game you should have large gem income across the field, and of course at most at what you need. And if you find someone who trade with you, great for you. Just don't expect trading to happen if there are like 3 players left and one of them is your enemy, because chances are your ally in this case, or your neutral if you're unlucky, will probably also need all the gems you want. It's rarely that at that late point in a game that you will find someone who has tons of gems of the kind you want, and surprise surprise, also needs ton of gems you don't want. But anyway, in this case you have the added problem in normal games you can sometimes pay for gems with money, or it makes sense to sell some of your gems for money. In this gimmick game with maximum money and resources, of course, there is the small problem of everyone already having tons of money. And as I learned in the early game when I accidentally sold one of my provinces for far not enough money, I learned that yes, if you are in a gimmick game where everyone is super rich, it doesn't make sense to demand money. Or, demand money? What's the opposite of demand? Shit, I lost my train of thought there. There was a stupid error in my recording. Windows Media Player suddenly broke. The recording is running again, and I'm back to recording my audio. The troubles of doing after commentary. I should really invest in a better sound card. But well, as long as that dumb thing works, I somehow can't bring myself to buy a better one. Besides, mixing audio channels worked at one point, but apparently with my stupid cheap sound card only if I buy a headset I can plug in behind my computer in one of those, those weird little iron metal plugs. I don't know how they call it in English, sorry. Clinkers, I think is the name of it. Clinker connection. I'm mixing English and German here, so I hope you have Google ready to know what I'm talking about. But those little audio special contacts, well, if I use them, then I'm suddenly allowed to mix audio streams from the game and my microphone, and then I can do normal commentary. In this case, I have either to do some weird setup where I'm playing and talking and trying to alt-tab between game and microphone recording software back and forth, hoping nothing goes wrong, or I do after commentary like I'm doing now. So, to prevent myself from getting a heart attack because my audio is desyncing like madly with my weird setup, I've decided to do after commentary because it's easier to make both game and my own audio sync up. I know it's probably sounding weird for someone who doesn't have a cheap 10 bucks audio card, sound card I mean. But well, next year probably I take a new one, or I buy a better headset. The funny thing is, my old shitty headset, that one could be plugged into my sound card directly. This one I'm using now is an upgrade, it works great, but since it's an USB connector, for some stupid reason it doesn't work as well with my old sound card. So anyway, as you have seen, even Miglan has now stopped playing, which is why we are eating him now. So that marks, well, Xibalba dropped out of the game before I could even decide to join the war. Yomon dropped out of the game before my invasion started rolling. And now Miglan dropped out of the game before my invasion started rolling. But hey, at least I am now working together with another player to eat AI Miglan, so progress. Well, I see you again next episode. Liploini out.